All right, we're recording.
Great. Can we get this over with? These lights are killing me.
Yeah, but the lighting is pretty good today.
Yeah. You can see the white in my beard and the white in my hair, and and the way my retinas are going to turn white in a minute. Jeez.
All right, well, so here's the deal with today's video.
Okay, tell me about it.
So the title is going to be something along the lines of how to actually read a vehicle contract. So
Okay.
let's say you're in the market to buy a new car or used car, whatever.
Any kind of car.
Yep. You're going to get a contract ultimately
Yes.
for what you're about to purchase.
Yes.
And so what we thought we would do today is actually walk through kind of step by step what that entails.
Okay.
And I'll drive, so I'll move the screen and everything.
But that would be good.
But if you don't mind, Dad.
Because I remember in driver's ed that you should never talk and move the screen
Yes.
while you're driving.
You took driver's ed when, in 1960?
Let's not even talk about it, but it would have been about 1967. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So why don't we do this? So
Okay.
I guess my first question to you, Dad, is, so this was what we've blacked out, obviously, like information that we can't share. Wouldn't be right to share that information. There's no need for that to be online.
Yes.
But this is an Iowa vehicle retail installment contract.
Yes.
These contracts, are they similar from state to state?
Yes, because these have to deal with federal truth in lending guidelines, and so yes.
All right, so I'm going to lean forward here. So we've got the purchase was for a 2019 Ford Mustang.
Okay.
And we can see here, so there you go, federal truth and lending disclosure. So what are we looking at here? I guess we'll start with this box.
Start with the first box, and if I can say, any good finance and insurance person that works in a dealership would tell you that one of the ways that they disclose this is they use the back of a pen when they're showing you this on your actual paper contract.
Okay.
And what they'll do is they'll take the back of the pen and they'll circle each one of these boxes as they talk about it. Now, it won't leave a mark on the white copy, but because it's carbon-free paper, it will leave a mark on the customer's copy and all the subsequent copies, so it'll show that the finance person actually discussed or went over or highlighted every one of these boxes.
Why is that important?
So that the customer can't say, well, they never told me about that. And that's the whole reason for the federal truth in lending disclosures, is that these things have to be shown to the customer. So the first box is what the APR is, the annual percentage rate. And in this case, it's 3.54% for a 2019 pre-owned Mustang, which seems like a reasonably good rate in today's world for a pre-owned car.
I actually remember they were marking it up about 3/4 of a point, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But the person still was like, all right, yeah, let's go for it. So,
Yeah, and it was probably better than what they could get at their own bank.
definitely.
Yes. So that's an example of the dealership which places more loans with the bank than you would.
Yeah.
Being able to get a discount rate that they can utilize to make some money for the dealership and still give the customer a good interest rate on the loan, better than what they could normally get. The second box is the finance charge. That's the amount of interest that will be paid out over the term, and this term is 60 months, over the term of the loan if you take all 60 months to pay it off.
So that's your interest payments.
That's your total interest payments over the 60 months. Now, the beauty of the way contracts are today, they can only charge interest up to the day that the loan was paid off. So if you pay off the loan early, the amount of interest you will have paid will actually be less than the $2,884.08. But if you take the full 60 months to pay it off, you're going to pay back $2,884.08 in interest for the bank having lent you the money.
Okay.
Now, the amount financed that you're making those payments on is on $30,625.32. That includes whatever money you put down, whatever trades there might have been. That's the amount that the bank is going to pay to the dealer when the dealer turns the contract into the bank. That's how the dealer gets paid. So that's the balance that would have been due to the dealer. Now, the total of the payments is, and your payments in this case are $558.49, and you're going to be making 60 of those. So if you make 60 of those payments, that's going to add up to $33,509.40.
That's the same as if you just add the finance charge to the amount financed, right?
I would think so. But don't tell anyone. Okay, but that's got to be disclosed to the customer. And then the total sale price, what does that mean? Well, that includes all the fees. So as you can see on the document, the itemization of amount financed, the cash price of the vehicle was $44,068.
And that's down here.
Yes.
Do you have your mouse? Because I kind of want to use the mouse. Do you have that somewhere? Just tell me where. I'll go grab it.
Well, there's one right there.
Does that? Oh, okay.
And you can...
I can plug it. Cool. All right. Keep going. I'm all ears.
Okay. As you can see, we really prepare for these before we get started. And then you have a trade-in allowance. And the gross trade-in allowance in this particular deal was $26,500.
Oh, so you're already down here. I'm still looking at this box up here.
Yeah.
Well, so wait. So I'm slow. So
okay.
Slow down. So this number is the total price to purchase the vehicle, and this is the down payment.
Okay. Let me show you how they got to the down payment.
Okay.
Yeah. The trade-in allowance
Which
was
is
$26,500. Okay. The payoff on the car that he's trading in is $13,057.32, which leaves a gross balance of $13,442.68, which, if you go back up to that box, that's the down payment, because that's the actual value of the trade that the customer owns.
And let's beat this home, because I've said, and I've heard from a lot of people, well, my car's worth this much, and then you have to factor in, well, what's your payoff? The payoff is how much you still owe on the vehicle. So the example,
the payoff is the portion the bank still owns.
Yeah.
And you have to clear that up.
And so, like, I've talked about on this channel many times my Volvo S90, which is not worth as much as it used to be, although now that used car prices are going back up, it might be worth more.
Yes.
But I still owe $23,000 on it, and when I was looking to sell it, could only get $17,000. Well, there's a $6,000 difference, so I wouldn't have this $13,000.
No, it would be a negative.
It would be a negative. So that's where we talk about rolling negative equity.
Yes,
but in this case, for this particular customer
has positive equity,
and a considerable amount.
Oh yeah. Yeah, more than most people would. But you can see that when you take the total of the payments, which was $33,509.40, and you add the $13,442.68 of positive equity he has, you add those two together, and it comes up to $46,952.08. So what he's really paying, the total sale of the car, is $46,952.08.
And his trade-in is positively affecting that to reduce essentially the basis for what the loan needs to be. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can see that he has, so that the sale price was $44,068, and that his total down payment, which is the positive side of his equity, was $13,442.68, leaving an unpaid balance that is financed of $30,625.32. Let's go back up to box number 3, and lo and behold, it matches.
Yep. So the amount that you're financing is going to be the cash price, the selling price, plus in this case, well, in all cases, the documentary fee.
Yes.
Yeah. So the cash price plus the doc fee, less any
trade allowance. less any pay, plus any payoff, because you have to get.
Picking your nails, man.
I'm not picking my nails. You know, life was so much easier when you lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, and while I lived here.
All right, so you've got your cash price, your doc fee, less your trade allowance. Are there any other things that could be less in this type of in a document like this? Well, cash, obviously. So this buyer didn't.
So if he would have put some cash down on top of it, on top of the $13,000 in trade equity that he had, that would have lowered the amount financed.
And what does other mean in this context?
in this context, I don't know.
Gotcha.
It to me, I don't know.
Could it be like rebates or something like that? That wouldn't show up there.
Well, that could as a down payment, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, because rebates are taxable.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you scroll down further on the contract,
What's all this stuff? That's okay.
Okay. So you can see that paid to others on the customer's behalf, there are no fees because they did. Apparently, this was an out-of-state deal.
How did you know?
Because there's no fees.
Yeah, so this was you've done this once or twice.
So the reason that there's no title and registration fees or lien filing fees or taxes or anything else at this point is because the customer who's buying this car is going to have to pay those with cash when he registers the car in his state. So ordinarily, if this was an in-state deal, then you would see whatever the title and registration fees are. Okay, and you would see the lien filing fee and any sales taxes or county taxes or city taxes would all be rolled into the tax line. If there's any insurance that the customer decided to, and I don't know anybody that even sells credit life insurance or credit disability insurance anymore, or even physical damage insurance. And you can see some of the other charges like optional gap insurance and things like that. You would add all those together, and that typically would add up to the total amount financed. But in this case, because they're not collecting any of those fees up front, the total amount financed remains $30,625.32.
And I will mention, I've been working on something that I haven't really even involved you too much in, Dad, which is creating like a little app where you put in the selling price of your vehicle and the state that you live in, and then even the zip code in the future, and it'll actually tell you what your title and registration fees would be and your taxes and stuff like that. So if you're interested in like beta testing that, comment down below or just let me know somehow because I need feedback. But I think it would be valuable because obviously in an out-of-state deal, like you're saying, it's not applicable. Well, it is applicable. Actually, it is applicable because he's going to have to pay for it when he gets.
Yes, he's going to have to pay for it when he gets to the state and he registers the car. And like so many other things that I've heard, there's an app for that. Or if there isn't, there soon will be an app for that because, well, damn it, there's apps for everything.
That's what I'm working on, man.
Yeah.
I guess I have one question here, which is line H, prior credit or lease balance.
Yes.
Would that be like what would that? Yeah, what does that mean?
That might be if, let's say, his trade had been totaled.
Okay.
And he didn't have gap insurance.
Okay.
And he might have gotten X for the trade. Maybe they gave him $10,000, but he owed the 13.
Yeah.
That could be a balance utilized to take care of the deficiency balance that might have been owed on the totaled car. So they could roll that in if it was the same bank. But I doubt that. You never really see that. Typically, the bank that held the loan that didn't have gap insurance just creates a new payment plan for the deficiency balance.
Okay. I got you.
Yes.
So it's not.
But these are all things that are required by federal law to be disclosed to the customer when they're signing for their new.
Now, is that only if you're financing, or
this type of disclosure would be for financing because it's a truth in lending disclosure, and there's a similar one for a lease.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So this is the second page.
Yes. So this is basically a buyer's order.
So let's break down the buyer's order.
Okay, so you can see the price of the vehicle, which is, and you can see at the top it tells you what the vehicle is.
Yeah, up here was what the vehicle.
Yes, so it'll always list the vehicle that you're buying, whether it's new, used, demo, car, truck, or van. It will always include the VIN number.
Yep.
And the reason all these boxes are there is so that somebody can't say, well, I didn't know it was a used car. Well, no, you did, and you signed for it.
Yeah.
So then you have your selling price. You would have your trade allowance, which you can see over on the right.
I was a little confused why they had over here on the left trade 2 with nothing, but then the
Well,
actual
because
trade.
if there's more than one trade,
Yeah,
you have to have some place
got
to
it.
show it, and you can in most states you can only get a tax credit for the one trade.
Interesting.
So if you're in a state like when we were in Maryland, and somebody had 2 trades, well, you couldn't give them the tax advantage of trading both cars. You could only give them the tax advantage of the most expensive car that was traded in, the
That's
one that had the
interesting.
highest traded allowance. So
I do-
one trade becomes tax exempt and the other is not.
That's really neat. I
Yeah.
had no clue.
Yeah, well, that's why you're a customer and I'm a professional. Okay, that's probably a stretch calling me a professional, but that's besides the point.
All right, so we've got the price of
Yes.
the vehicle. We've got our trade information over
Yes,
here again.
yes.
And then down below,
You have your doc fee, and guess what? All these numbers add up to what was on the unpaid balance of the contract. Up
so this
top.
is interesting though. So amount subject to fee for new registration. Is that then? Oh, because some states they base their registration off of. I've seen quite a few that do it based off of like weight of vehicle, and then also the selling price or the MSRP of the vehicle.
Well, I know in Arizona it's based off of the MSRP of the vehicle.
Yeah, so maybe this is something that's kind of
yeah.
Iowa specific.
It could be. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but so there you have it. All those numbers will match what was on the beginning of the contract in those first 5 boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's what's known as universal contracts that most banks will accept, unless of course you're dealing with a captive lender. Then you have to use the captive lender specific contract. But even those are set up the same way. At the very top, there's going to be the disclosures of the truth in lending disclosures, so that everybody knows what everybody was signing for.
Definitely.
So I know in my career when somebody would come to me and they'd go, well, they told me it was a purchase, and then I don't know, afterwards I realized I signed for a lease. Well, I don't know, that you would have been able to see that in the truth in lending disclosure for whether it was a lease or a purchase.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to pay attention to what it is that you're initialing or signing. And I know that certain finance and insurance people might not go over everything in great detail. The good ones will, because they don't ever want any question. And in a lot of dealerships today, they actually film the transaction within the finance office, so that if a customer says, well, I wasn't told this or I wasn't told that, and they want to go to court, well, there's video documentation and audio documentation of not only what was said, but what was disclosed and how it was disclosed. So,
Really?
Yes.
I remember when I bought my car,
Yeah.
there was no disclosure about being on camera or anything.
No, but lots of dealerships are doing that today because, we live in a society where people like to sue other people, whether it's legitimate or not.
Well, in all fairness, I mean, looking at this document,
Yeah.
I can have someone walk me through it, and if it's
And not understand it.
exactly, and if
Yeah.
it's not you,
Yeah.
I don't really know if I'm gonna trust it. You know what I mean? Like someone can walk me through it, but if they're trying to upsell me and things like that, I mean,
Well, yeah, that's different. But if they're walking you through it and they're circling every one of those boxes with
they're checking their boxes, they're doing their job. I get that,
yes.
but from a customer perspective, it's hard for me to.
I
You know
could,
what I mean.
I could see that, and I guess maybe one of the things that a good F&I person would do would say, do we need to slow down? Do we need to go over this again? Or is there any aspect of this that you're having difficulty understanding? Do you need me to get into slightly greater detail? Let me know what your comfort level is. But that's up to the F&I people, and it's also up to the customer to speak up.
Well, sure, okay, and yes, you need to advocate for yourself, but that's also literally why we created Your Auto Advocate, is to help support and be that advocate. So if you're interested in more vehicles, more videos like this, videos where we're really kind of getting into the nuts and bolts, breaking down contracts, buyer's orders, if you want us to do something similar for a lease, if you've gone through and you feel like maybe you didn't understand what you did, if you want to email us, the email address is on our YouTube channel, or just Zach@yourautoadvocate.com. That'll come to me. We're more than happy to do these things because the truth is, I remember I've got photos when I bought my Volvo. The finance manager took them of you and me because it was the first time I ever bought my own car. Yeah. And you were sitting right next to me, so it was easy. It was so easy.
Yeah, well,
but for everyone else out there,
hey, I got a great idea. If Zach and I would love to see the United States as much as we can. If you want to fly us out, put us up for a weekend, wine us, dine us, and have us sit in with you.
Do I need to show them all the wine?
Yeah, wine us, dine us, and feed us. We'll sit with you when you're in the finance office finalizing your deal. It'll be our pleasure. It'll cost you an arm and a leg, but hey, just the entertainment value alone will be worth it.
This guy's seriously...
I've lost my mind.
No, you haven't lost your mind. Your retinas are still looking good.
Yeah, barely.
It was last week when the wine club order came in, so I had to go downstairs and bring it up, and it's like, why is there another dozen bottles of wine? Because all the wine racks are full.
Okay, folks, I think we're done. I think we're done.
All right.
I think we're done.
All right, well, thanks for doing this, Dad.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody.